Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Malik, and we actually got another game in the preseason. Today, it is against the Boston Celtics at the FedEx Forum. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Not really much to this game. Hopefully, we see Javon Small be able to hit the court. That was something that we didn't see Monday, but we are hoping to see that today. One of the things that I'm also hoping to see, and I'm just going to kind of talk about things that I'm going to be looking for because I will be there again. One of the things that I am looking for that really needs to be talked about is, and how do I put it? Basically, the Grizzlies really need to figure out this rim protection situation. Obviously, no Zach Edey. I get it. It's very challenging, but it goes beyond that. I mean, we're talking about a team that needs to learn how to simply deny the entry pass. I mean, I got to be honest. It was like that first quarter. I saw the defense that I wanted to see, and then after that, it just kind of fell off a cliff. Now, granted, yes, I get it's preseason, but this we need to figure. They need to figure this out soon. The season is in the start of the season is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today. So, really got to figure that out. Especially with a team like Boston, who's very experienced. Yes, they lost some depth, and obviously Jason Tatum is recovering from an Achilles injury, but it's still a very good team, very good coaching staff. You really got to figure out how this is going to look against contending teams. I mean, obviously, this is a great test for your depth. You know, try to figure things out. Figure out, hey, do we have the guys when, if need be, can they step up? And some of them I saw. The other ones, I got to be honest, I think they just need to be given a chance. I mean, if I'm being honest, I know we talked about like guys like Gigi Jackson and Cedric Howard. I think Cedric Howard figures it out today. I think he figures it out. I think he's gonna look very comfortable on the court. I think he just needed to get that rust off. But really, all he needs is one shot to go in, and I think we'll see him kind of figure it out from there. When it comes to Gigi Jackson, I think if we see some more sets drawn from him, maybe we see different results. But one of the things about Gigi that I've noticed is that he kind of dribbles too much. And for a guy that really doesn't dribble a lot, he dribbles too much. I don't think he understands. Well, let me not say it that way because it sounds crazy. I don't think he fully understands that he doesn't need much to score. With his height and length, he could really just score at will. And it's like confidence wise, I don't think he understands that. So it's kind of weird on the court, and then you look at the box score. It's like, well, what happened? So that's something that hopefully we get to see figured out. Obviously, the rebounding situation. Hopefully that looks a little better today. I mean, like I said, Boston did lose some depth themselves, so they're trying to figure it out as well as along with the Grizzlies. So maybe both teams figure it out. Maybe it's a more even matchup. And like I said, main thing I'm looking for is how well can the others play? We know what the starters and we know what the veterans can do. What can the others do? That has been the main catalyst in all of this. What can the others bring to the game? Now, speaking of the veterans aspect of it, I want to touch on KCP and Ty Jerome real quick. I talked about it in the last episode, but I really liked what I saw out of them. Really liked what I saw from them. Um, KCP looked very comfortable, looked like a leader out there, which is exactly what the Grizzlies need. And you can definitely tell that he looks very comfortable out there. It's just that's just a matter of reality. I mean, I know he's in year 13, but for him to come in and just simply have a good game like that in a comfortable environment to him, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. He's already spoken on his role of being a leader in the locker room. That's something that the Grizzlies won't have to worry about because he has it on lock essentially. Another thing just being the fact that he knows his place on the court. That's something that a lot of people can't do, especially even some veterans to this day don't know what to do. So the fact that he knows what to do and find his place on the court, that's great. So I'm all for when it comes to KCP finding his place on the court and just simply rocking out and helping some guys figure out their place when it comes to getting the ball and things like that. I mean, like I said, we talk about the others, but at the end of the day, excuse me, y'all, it's kind of early. At the end of the day, it's you have to figure it out. You got to figure it out. You gotta do things that can help the other guys. Like a Cam Spencer, knock down shots. Like I said, Gigi Jackson, maybe even a Cedric Howard, just up that box score because I did see a lot of negative shooting percentages that just kind of stuck out to me. And like I said, I get it's preseason, it's game one, but no game first game of the preseason is quickly going to turn into the first game of the regular season. And one thing we don't want to see is disappointment on the first game of the season because then hopes are very low and it just doesn't look all together. But it's just a clear factor that without Ja Morant, this team looks very clueless sometimes. And obviously, we're hoping he's back by the time of the season opener, so hopefully we get to see him in action. But other than that, really got to figure it out. And I think KCP is the guy for that. Another guy that I think is right for that is Ty Jerome. I mean, we're talking about a guy who looked very comfortable shooting the ball, dishing the ball, essentially setting up plays. That's something that the Grizzlies, I can say, outside of Scottie Pippen Jr., they didn't really have that aspect of it. It was setting up plays. And that's something that I did see out of Ty Jerome. I mean, even compared to like a Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane would just he would try to set the play, but ultimately he would just kind of if one play doesn't work out, he's absolutely clueless, and that actually what led to a lot of his turnovers. Ty Jerome, I don't get that feeling from him. I get that feeling of I know all my options, and I'm not gonna rush to find an open guy. They're gonna get open somehow. So that was something that I saw. Obviously, with the Grizzlies, the one thing I'd like to see is more presence in the paint when it comes to driving, backdoor cuts, something. I feel like this is a team that is shooting way too many threes. Well, I'm not going to say way too many, but I feel like they're shooting too many threes and relying on that three-point shot. When in reality, you don't need that. You really don't. All you need is just to find a way to score the ball. And I feel like that's something that is leading to these long runs where they find themselves down by 10, 15 points. Y'all know the runs I'm talking about, the ones where the Grizzlies surge back, they're down by 3, and then suddenly they're down by 15 because they rely too much on the three-point shot. That kind of run right there. So it's just like I think the Grizzlies really need to figure out what's a good shot and what's not and stick to it. Because if you don't stick to it, you're going to get lost and you're going to get absolutely clueless. And these teams who run fast and run this up-tempo offense that the Grizzlies are trying to run and simply can't do it. But I feel like Ty Jerome playing alongside a guy like Scottie Pippen Jr., it definitely helps guys slow down and realize, hey, here's what we can do on the court. I mean, you look at Ty Jerome, he played pretty good. I think he had a plus 22 when he was on the court. So he has a positive impact on the team. It's just a matter of how can the others help Ty Jerome. And that's something that later down the line we need to figure out going forward in the season. Now, before we get out of here, I do just want to talk about some of the things that, we've already talked about but just need to be reiterated when it comes to the changes that needs to happen in order for the Grizzlies to see wins this year. One of the things being the Grizzlies need to utilize their size. And I'm mostly talking about the players. The coaches understand it. The players don't. Now, some guys, I don't know. I think it's just when it comes to the rebounding, I get it. You leave it to the front court guys. You leave it to the centers to get that up. You don't have Zach Edey right now. If I'm one of the guys on the Grizzlies that is around 6'8", 6'9", a fairly tall height, right? I feel like everybody needs to make an effort on crashing the glass. And I feel like that's something that, because of this up-tempo offense, the Grizzlies are so focused on getting out in transition that they're not thinking about second chance points defensively. And that's what's really losing them, especially when it comes to points in the paint. Nobody's crashing the paint. Now, I may be wrong, but I feel like I'm not getting that out of the Grizzlies. Crash the paint. Everybody wants to be the first one down the court to try to score, but it's like, hey, the ball isn't in our hands yet. Once the ball is in our hands, get out there. I mean, the Grizzlies have the speed to where teams cannot keep up. I think they need to realize that instead of trying to outrun them before the play even starts. It's just something like, hey, these guys can't keep up with you. Hopefully we see something change. And obviously, it all depends on who's bringing the ball up the court. And like I said, with a guy like Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr., I feel like I get the sense of that with the team. Obviously, Ja Morant as well, but I feel like I get the sense of that with guys like them. But when it comes to other people, the others, it feels like everybody's just in a rush to kind of get the ball. But at the same time, when it comes to actually starting the offense, no one's willing to step in. But like I said, I could be wrong, but these are literally just what I'm observing from the team. And it's just something that's been going on for way too long. And I feel like it's ingrained in people's minds to where it's run, shoot, defense. It's kind of annoying at this point. So hopefully they figure that out, because if they don't, they're gonna find themselves in a similar situation like last season where they're not beating contenders and they're barely making the playoffs. So hopefully we see things change and this system actually works out in favor of the Grizzlies to where everybody can help out and play their part. But that's gonna be this that's going to be a wrap on this edition of Grizzlies Daily. Really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, I will be at tonight's game once again in my uniform. So if you see me, feel free to come by. I'll be in the main team store checking people out. So feel free to come by, stop by, say what's up. Maybe we talk some Grizzlies basketball. I got no problem doing it. But I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when tomorrow's episode comes out. And I give y'all a recap of tonight's preseason game against the Boston Celtics tonight at 7 p.m. But that's for this edition. My name's Melek, and I'll sign out, and I'll see y'all in the next video.